Have you ever seen a black butterfly flutter past you and felt a strange shiver down your spine? You're not alone. These rare visitors are not just beautiful, they're wrapped in deep mystery. So, what does a black butterfly truly symbolize? What message might it be carrying to you? In a world filled with signs and symbols, the black butterfly often slips by unnoticed, misunderstood, or even feared. But what if I told you that this elegant creature is one of the most profound spiritual messengers of transformation? It's not just about the color. Black, in many cultures, stands for endings. But endings are never just endings, are they? They're thresholds, doorways, beginnings in disguise. The black butterfly whispers this to us in the quietest way. When it appears, it often marks a shift, a movement from what once was to what can be. And like all transformation, it can feel uncertain, even a little scary. But the butterfly, with wings as dark as the night sky, teaches us to trust that process. Today, let's step into that mystery together. Let's be honest. Transformation sounds beautiful until you're in the middle of it. On paper, we love the concept of growth, glowing affirmations, spiritual quotes, the universe has a plan energy. But when transformation shows up in real life, it usually doesn't feel divine. It feels like everything's falling apart. You get laid off from a job you thought was secure. A relationship ends that you thought would last forever. Suddenly, the things that once gave your life structure disappear, and you're left staring into the unknown, wondering, what now? This is the challenge. When things crumble, we panic. We label it failure, loss, disaster. But what if, just what if, life is not breaking you, but rebuilding you? Change rarely whispers. It kicks down the door. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It drags you forward into the next version of yourself. And that version, it hasn't fully formed yet. You're between who you were and who you're becoming. No wonder it feels uncomfortable. But here's where it gets interesting. That discomfort, that liminal space, it's sacred. And the black butterfly appears as a sign, not to fix what's broken, but to remind you that transformation is unfolding, whether you see it or not. It's a message. You are not lost, you're being reshaped. And sometimes that reminder is all we need to keep going. Across time and geography, few creatures have stirred the human imagination quite like the butterfly. And the black butterfly, in particular, carries an air of mystique that makes it both captivating and slightly unsettling. In spiritual traditions and folk beliefs around the world, this rare visitor is seen not simply as a beautiful insect, but as a sacred sign of transformation, transition, and the unseen. Let's begin in Filipino folklore, where black butterflies are often regarded as messengers from the spirit world. When one appears, it's believed that a departed loved one is near, gently watching over us or trying to send a message. This isn't always a warning, it's often a quiet reassurance. A whisper that says, "You're not alone." In times of grief or personal confusion, the presence of a black butterfly can feel like a nod from the beyond, offering comfort during a phase of inner change. In Central and South American traditions, the black butterfly holds deep symbolic meaning as well. Here it's often seen as an omen of transition, not a literal death, but the end of one life chapter and the beginning of another. Just like snakes shed their skin, humans, too, must let go of outdated identities. When a black butterfly appears, it may be asking, what part of you is ready to be released? Think of it as a spiritual molting, a shedding of old stories, beliefs, or emotional attachments that no longer serve your journey. Let's not forget the ancient Aztec civilizations, where butterflies were revered as symbols of the soul. In this context, a black butterfly represented a soul in profound transition, someone who had passed through fire, metaphorically speaking, and emerged with deeper wisdom. It wasn't seen as ominous, but as a reflection of deep spiritual growth. The The color black wasn't feared, it was respected, associated with mystery, wisdom, and the hidden processes of inner alchemy. In Western symbolism, black often gets a bad reputation. It's typically linked to mourning, fear, and the unknown. But the butterfly challenges this narrative. It reminds us that what we mourn is often not lost, but transformed. It asks us to reframe endings as beginnings in disguise, like the caterpillar entering the cocoon, a space of complete darkness, of dissolution. The black butterfly emerges on the other side, not in spite of the darkness, but because of it. And isn't that the very heart of transformation? Even in Eastern philosophies like Buddhism and Taoism, the black butterfly's essence resonates. Change is not linear. It moves in spirals and cycles. We evolve, fall apart, and come back together in new forms again and again. The black butterfly may visit when we're in these in-between stages, moments when an old identity dies, but the new self hasn't fully arrived. It doesn't demand answers. Instead, it invites us to surrender to the unknown, to float on the wind of change and trust the unfolding. What's most profound is how such a delicate creature, light as air, can carry such heavy symbolism with grace. It never speaks, yet it teaches. It never hurries, yet it moves us. And sometimes one glimpse is enough to remind us, you are in the midst of becoming. Let me share a story that's quietly circulated through spiritual communities, one that touches the heart in a way few others do. There was a woman in her early 40s, going through what she described as the darkest chapter of her life. Her 15-year marriage had just ended. She had to leave the home she'd built, navigate co-parenting her 2 children, and somehow keep her career afloat while battling a deep sense of loss and confusion. Her identity, which had been so tightly wrapped in her role as a wife and mother, had collapsed. She described it as a spiritual freefall. One morning, drained from another sleepless night, she opened her curtains and saw a single black butterfly resting on the windowsill. It startled her, not because it was frightening, but because it felt intentional. It stayed just a few seconds before disappearing. The next morning, it returned. Then again. For weeks, this butterfly appeared, always in the quiet morning light, always when she felt most fragile. She began to journal the encounters, even speaking to the butterfly aloud. "Why do you keep coming back?" She began researching spiritual meanings and stumbled across ancient stories and teachings, just like the ones we've explored today. Eventually, she met an elderly monk during a silent retreat. She shared her story, and he said gently, "The butterfly is not here to fix your sorrow. It is here to witness it. And when our pain is truly seen, even by nature, we begin to heal." And that's what happened. Slowly, without fanfare, she stopped resisting the grief. She allowed it to reshape her. By the time the butterflies stopped coming, she realized she no longer needed to be held. She had learned to hold herself. That's the silent power of the black butterfly. It arrives not to solve, but to remind us, you are not alone in your becoming. So, what does the black butterfly symbolize? It's not death, it's not doom, it's deep transformation. A signal that change is unfolding even if you don't yet understand it. It tells you, embrace the unknown, because that's where your next version is waiting. From ancient stories to quiet moments in your own life, the black butterfly reminds us that every end holds the seed of a new beginning, and maybe, just maybe, the dark wings of transformation are what help you finally fly. Have you ever had an encounter with a black butterfly or any moment of unexpected transformation? Share your story in the comments below. And if this touched your heart, explore our other videos on spiritual signs and sacred meanings. There's a message out there meant just for you.